Meet Thierry Henry. From the backstreets of Paris to the front pages of sporting papers around the globe, Henry's combination of pace, intelligence and discipline made him one of the world's most feared goal poachers and a legend of modern football. But despite being considered a gentleman of the game, Henry didn't come without his faults. He may have eluded defenders for decades, but the man known as Titi can't elude the truth. France is one of the world's football superpowers, having won the World Cup back in 1998 and the European Championships twice. But they can credit a lot of their success to the French overseas departments and territories, or those territories outside the European continent that are administered by the French. Because of the top 5 leaders in caps for the senior side, none of them have a full-fledged French background. Number 5, with 103 appearances, is former menacing midfielder Patrick Vieira, who was born in Dakar, Senegal. With 108 appearances at number 4 is Zinedine Zidane. Born in Marseille, Zizou is of Algerian descent. Accra, Ghana-born Marcel Desailly is 3rd on the list. The once burly, bruising defender played for Les Bleus 116 times. If you jump to number 1, you'll find Lilian Thuram, the Guadeloupe-born defender who played 142 games for France. Or 19 caps more than the man who stands number 2 all-time on the most caps for France list, Thierry Henry. And while Henry was born in Léolie-Essonnes, a tough suburb on the outskirts of Paris, it's definitely a far cry from where his parents are from. The French Antilles, or a territory where it seems the stresses of professional football is the last thing on their minds. However, their son soon grew into a global super striker, and the rest is truly football history.
He was not a contact player as so much as a typical centre forward. It was more a guy who used his intelligence to get away from people and his pace, and was one of the greatest players I ever seen.
Coming up, the colossal career of Thierry Henry. At the end of 2014, Thierry Henry called time on his illustrious 20-year career, one that started at AS Monaco under the guidance of then-manager Arsene Wenger, who didn't hesitate to test Henry's unlimited potential.
I made him start at the age of 17 in Monaco.
His first senior start in 1994 led to a series of individual and club trophies, including the 1997 French Young Footballer of the Year and the 1997 Ligue 1 title. Looking to test his football skills even further, Henry moved to Italian giant Juventus in 1999. Deployed as a winger, he was rather ineffective, scoring just 3 times in 16 matches. And only 6 months later, he was sold to Premier League side Arsenal as a replacement for fellow Frenchman Nicolas Anelka at a seemingly hefty price tag of £11 million. But the move would see Henry reunited with Monaco maestro Arsene Wenger, who transformed his prize pupil into the striker he was always meant to be. Soon, the lanky Frenchman would prove he was worth every penny, and North London would never be the same again. It's safe to say that when you've had a statue of yourself erected for all the world to see, you've done something good with yourself. Whether it be as a footballer, past or present, or even as a former football manager.
Normally, people die before they see the statue. I'm outliving death.
In December 2011, as part of Arsenal's 125th anniversary celebrations, Thierry Henry was immortalised in a statue outside Emirates Stadium. Thanks to his stratospheric accomplishments in 8 years with the Gunners, although he later deflected the praise to his teammates.
First and foremost, I have to say something about the statue because I said it at the time, but I actually embraced it, obviously, but I thought it was a bit too much because if I didn't have great players around me to reach what I've reached at Arsenal, it wouldn't have been possible. So, I just thought that the team should have been there, especially the Invincible side, but that's only me anyway.
Between 1999 and 2007, Henry became the club's all-time leading scorer with 226 goals in 371 appearances. He also earned 2 European and 4 Premier League Golden Boots, as well as 3 FWA Footballer of the Year awards and 2 PFA Players Player of the Year awards. The statue features his famous knee slide celebration in front of fans of bitter rivals Tottenham, after going the length of the pitch to score one of his greatest ever goals back in 2002.
It's a goal against Tottenham, and it's always going to be special. And I mean, the goal itself wasn't bad. And to be fair, I was dead after the whole game. I didn't touch the ball just because of the celebration, but it stayed in the history.
That Arsenal history also included an undefeated 2003-2004 campaign, playing alongside the non-flying Dutchman Dennis Bergkamp and fellow Frenchmen Patrick Vieira and Robert Pires. The Invincibles achieved a feat that hadn't been accomplished in over a century.
Arsenal was a team with incredible attacking players. They had just won the Premier League title without losing. They were respected all around Europe for their quality. And Thierry Henry was in an extraordinary period of his career.
In 2006, Arsenal faced off against Barcelona in the UEFA Champions League final, the club's first ever appearance in the final. But despite many bookmakers labelling Arsenal as favourites, Belletti's late goal sunk Captain Henry and the Gunners 2-1. However, Titi's exploits didn't go unnoticed, and in 2007, he was lured to the Camp Nou for a modest €24 million.
I'm really pleased to be here. It's been a long chasing, if I can say, but I'm finally here and happy to be here, and can't wait to go out there and show what I can do to the fans and also to all the people who had a lot of confidence in me for coming here.
They had every right to be confident in him when you consider he was joining a strike force that included Lionel Messi and Samuel Eto'o. Henry spent 3 seasons in Spain, scoring 49 goals in 121 matches. 26 of those goals came during the 2008-09 season, leading the team to an unprecedented sextuple, winning the La Liga, UEFA Champions League, Copa del Rey, UEFA Super Cup, the Spanish Super Cup, and the FIFA Club World Cup. But with the emergence of Pedro, Henry's time on the pitch diminished, and so in 2010, he'd set off on another adventure, this time in the Big Apple. In 2010, with his supersonic speed in decline, Henry took his game to New York, joining the Red Bulls. And just like that, he instantly became an MLS goal-scoring machine. In 5 seasons, Henry scored 52 goals in 135 games, winning 2 MLS Eastern Conference titles and a Supporters' Shield in 2013. But with Major League Soccer taking a break from Christmas through to March, it gave Henry the chance to do what every Gunner fan was secretly hoping would come to fruition: return to Arsenal. In January 2012, their wish was granted.
It's kind of unreal, to be honest.
With the 2012 Africa Cup of Nations depleting the Gunners of 2 of their attacking components, Ivory Coast's Jovinho and Morocco's Marouane Chamakh, coach Arsene Wenger reached out to Henry prior to a match he'd taken as a spectator against Wolverhampton.
He looks more like I'm going to be a bench player, or maybe not on the bench, but more out type of player. Because as I said to you, I need to get ready. But I definitely can, put some input out there. I'm going to talk to the guy, try to tell them what it is to win, and give that. I'm a competitor, and that will never leave my body.
And after a 5-year absence, Henry made a triumphant return to Arsenal in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, coming off the bench to score the only goal in their 1-0 win over Leeds United. Then in his final league game on loan, Henry said goodbye by giving his fans the winning goal in stoppage time in a 2-1 win against Sunderland, leaving coach Wenger to lament, "It's a shame that a player of that quality is not in England or in Europe." Henry went back to New York following his fairy-tale return to Arsenal, before leaving the league at the end of his contract in December 2014. But he didn't leave the States without a little controversy, as he was seen sporting a Spurs hat while saying goodbye to his Red Bull teammates. But he quickly cleared the air. The Spurs weren't in reference to the hated rival Tottenham Hotspur, but rather the hat was a gift from close friend and Frenchman, San Antonio Spurs guard Tony Parker. Back to business, 2 weeks later, he confirmed that his playing career had come to a close.
I just want to thank him for the great moments he gave to all of us. Only one moment I didn't enjoy, which was a goal that he scored against us when Mr. Paul allowed him to take the free kick when everybody was preparing for the free kick. But even in that moment, he showed how intelligent he was.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank him what he has done for the club and what a huge success he has been for us.
After the break, Thierry Henry and his mentor, manager Arsene Wenger. Sometimes success as a football player doesn't always equate to the same success as a football manager. The French, on the other hand, seem to make the move with relative ease, with one 1998 World Cup winner, Laurent Blanc, boldly cleaning up the mess that was France's World Cup contingent in 2010. And 2 years later, he passed the torch on to another 98 winner, Didier Deschamps, who led his side to a respectable quarter-final finish at the 2014 World Cup, losing to eventual champions Germany 1-0. During Arsenal's Invincible era, 2 Frenchmen showed signs they had what it took to become skilled bench bosses. One is Patrick Vieira, another member of that 98 World Cup squad, and arguably one of the best midfielders of his generation. The other is Thierry Henry, who's been fortunate enough to have been coached by one of the game's most respected in the position, Arsene Wenger. Wenger's influence on Henry as a player lasted more than a decade, both in Monaco and London. So when he retired, it was only natural he too get into coaching. In his quest to become the next Wenger, He became an assistant with Arsenal's under-19 teams while getting his coaching badges.
We do our badges at the same time, so we're doing it at the moment. So yeah, I hope so. Like, he's a great guy and you know, a great player.
Des spéculations, des rumeurs, il y en a aujourd'hui.
There always have been speculation. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It's part of football, and it applies to players and managers. Can I see Thierry Henry taking over Arsene Wenger? Yes, why not?
Successor d'Arsène Wenger? Ouais, pourquoi pas?
There clearly is much admiration between the two, with Wenger unleashing him as an all-out striker after his failed attempt to turn him into a winger while at Monaco.
He has all the qualities because he's intelligent, committed, loves the game, and just to think, do I want to sacrifice all the rest of my life to be involved in that job?
But despite his raw coaching insights, Henry has become more vocal in how Arsenal is mentored. The closer Wenger comes to the end of his admirable career, the more outspoken Henry has been in his coaching decisions.
And stuff like that.
In November 2015, Henry was critical of Wenger playing Alexis Sanchez in a Champions League match after the Chilean returned from international duty not at 100%. He eventually injured his hamstring. I'm not a coach, but take him out, Henry said. Wenger wasn't oblivious to Henry's comments in February 2016, advising the experienced bench boss on how to best handle Barcelona in their Champions League clash.
Listen, this is the opinion shared by many, that one will have less possession against Barcelona. I don't think that you have to be extremely philosophical to know that. Barcelona are favourites, of course they are. Personally, I think we can still go through. But there you are. That's my opinion. And I know my opinion is contrary to others.
1 month later, Henry was at it again, this time writing in his column for a British newspaper following Arsenal's 2-1 loss to Swansea City. I've never heard the Arsenal supporters as angry as they were at the Emirates on Wednesday night. Once again, the master had to calmly put the apprentice in his place.
Thierry Henry has his opinions. He is not, has not found the measurement of the fans' angriness of 60,000 people straight away because he sits in the best seats of a stadium.
There's no question that the hunt is on at Emirates Stadium to find Wenger's successor. And if the tradition of high-end French players turned well-respected French managers continues, then it's only a matter of time before Henry has his turn.
He is involved with the under-19 at Arsenal Academy. He is preparing himself step by step. He wants to get his badges. Question is, would Arsenal want Thierry Henry? It depends on the board, the chairman. I can see Thierry Henry, as well as Patrick Vieira. It's up to the club to prepare well the post-Arsene era. That's crucial.
As Henry moves forward in his career as a coach, the French are left wondering who's next in line to take his spot on the pitch. Arsenal seem to have finally found their French forward replacement in Olivier Giroud, who was brought into the fold from Montpellier in 2012 after leading the club to their first Ligue 1 title ever, scoring a league-high 21 goals. Between his arrival and 2016, the expectations placed on him were so high, he's gone from being known as the charm striker for his devastatingly good looks and striking abilities in front of goal, to the lamp post for his, well, indecisiveness in front of goal. Michael Silvestre, who played against Henry as a defender with Manchester United, feels there's no comparison.
Olivier is not at the same level as Thierry Henry. He doesn't have the same qualities and same style. He is a poacher. Thierry could create chances on his own.
To make matters worse, when Henry himself was working as a TV pundit, he suggested that the Gunners sign a top-quality striker to help the French international. That left the man in question unimpressed.
Voilà, après ça m'a pas empêché de dormir entre nous.
You know, I didn't think every day about that.
Mais c'est vrai que ça
But my pride has been hurt because my work has been questioned. I was a bit annoyed, but I quickly forgot about that.
C'est vrai que j'avais été un peu agacé.
Simply, I don't care.
J'ai vite laissé ça derrière.
Meanwhile, in Manchester, a French forward was quickly earning himself the title of the next Thierry Henry, and for good reason. In 2015, Anthony Martial moved to Manchester United from AS Monaco, Henry's old club, for a fee as high as £57.6 million, when all the bonuses are thrown into the mix. That number is the highest ever spent on a teenager in football history. His impact with the Red Devils was instant. He scored in his first game. He was named the Premier League's Player of the Month in his first month. And he earned himself the Golden Boy Award as Europe's top under-21 player at the end of 2015. Soon, many of his compatriots compared him to the great Titi.
In France, we call him like the next Thierry Henry because he can play left or right. He's got a great ability with the ball. He can, take on 3-4 players with his. There is no problem. And at the same time, he's like, the new generation. They have no fear, to take the ball to go forward.
A wild card in the mix is Monaco's Kylian Mbappé. In February 2016, Mbappé became Monaco's youngest ever goal scorer. At 17 years, 62 days, he surpassed a record that was held for 21 years by Henry himself.
He is a very quick player who has good acceleration. He is very interesting mentally because he likes to listen and to progress. It's important for him.
Still to come, Henry and Les Bleus. Thierry Henry's career with the French national team was one of extreme highs and extreme lows. Bursting onto the scene at the 1998 World Cup, Henry was France's top scorer with 3 goals, guiding them to their first ever World Cup title. 2 years later, Henry led the French in goals with 3 yet again, leading the side to the European title in 2000, making France the first country to win the World Cup and the Euros in consecutive competitions. As celebrations overtook the Place de la Concorde in Paris, it seemed things for Les Bleus just couldn't get any better. And they didn't. At the 2002 World Cup, France crashed out in the group stages, becoming the first reigning champion to do so. Henry was held goalless, even earning himself a red card for a bad tackle against Uruguay. The 2006 edition was more respectable, losing in the final to Italy on penalties. Henry ended the tournament with 3 goals. But that respect went out the window heading to South Africa in 2010. France qualified for the World Cup via a playoff against Ireland. With the aggregate tied at 1-1 in extra time, Henry used his hand to control the ball before feeding William Gallas to score the winner. Accused of being a cheat, things went from bad to worse. Without a win in the group stage, the team revolted against coach Raymond Domenech for his row and dismissal of striker Nicolas Anelka. It was an inglorious way for Henry to end his international career, having left Les Bleus its all-time leading scorer with 51 goals in 123 matches. As a player, Thierry Henry was both a sprinter and a magician in footballers' clothes. He was also a philanthropist, starting the anti-racism campaign Stand Up, Speak Up, after he was racially abused by former Spanish national team coach Luis Aragonés.
Soon I won't be around, but the game's still going to be around. And, you know, I want to be able to go to the game and see a game without hearing all this kind of stuff, you know.
A rare breed of speed and smarts. The boy from the rough streets of Paris sure was as smooth as they come. And that is the truth.